If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. And you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. Anchor will also distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Hey, welcome to another episode of the 2D Film Club podcast. We got Kanye West on the air with us today. He just got done on Joe Rogan. Hey, Kanye, how are you doing? Oh, never mind. He's not on here.
Shoot, dude.
Damn, bro.
I got excited for a second.
Sorry, man. He was wanting to make it, but I guess he's too busy designing another set, so I guess
Yeah.
he'll have to come a different time. How are you doing, though,
Shoot.
Cody?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic.
Fantastic.
You sound a little sad there. Are you doing okay?
No, I'm doing good. I'm doing.
I'm just kidding. You sound beautiful.
Just some of these movies are just really depressing, man.
Because you hate them or what?
No. They just sad, man.
They sad. We watched Schindler's List.
Mm-hmm. And the boy in the striped pajama, right?
Yeah.
Heartbreaking stuff.
So sad.
Well, what you been up to this week?
Man. I don't know. Just been busy.
Just busy?
Been busy.
The usual. Work, sleep, play. Xbox?
Mm-hmm.
You playing that? You on
Yeah,
that
man.
grind right now?
Heck yeah, bro.
You playing some
Yeah,
Battletoads, bro?
We've been playing some the Halloween event on Modern Warfare, and it's been pretty fun.
Whoa.
And we got the Jigsaw skin and the Leatherface skin.
We putting all those V-Bucks in it, bro.
Yeah, man, it's fun.
Yeah, it's actually, so you sent the video to me, when they announced that they were going to be doing like that Warzone thing. And I just finally watched it last night, and the trailer for it was actually pretty terrifying.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, like if I was like a little kid like wanting to play this, I'd be like, holy shit, I don't know if I want to do that.
For real. I thought I think one of the trailers, it made me think that like there would be like certain players that would get to play as like Jigsaw and Leatherface or something.
Yeah.
And they had I thought that they had to hunt down other people or something like that. Like I thought it was gonna be like almost like a Dead by Daylight type of thing or something.
That's true.
Just kind of from how the trailer looked, but
well, and like I feel like in the trailer they didn't really show they showed zombies, but they didn't really show the game mode with the zombies. So I can totally see like the point you're talking about.
Yeah, it didn't show exactly like what it was gonna be, but it's fun though. I like it. It's fun being a zombie and doing that 2003 Hulk jump and just
that Hulk jump.
That Hulk jump, baby. Yeah, it's pretty fun. I love when games do like Halloween events like this.
Yeah,
it's always so fun. I haven't been playing Animal Crossing, but I wanted to. I've just
what do they do with Animal Crossing?
Busy. Well, they just have. I think you can like grow pumpkins and.
Oh, that's fun.
There's an event that's gonna happen on Halloween. I don't know exactly what it is, but there's a bunch of Halloween stuff. I think you get like costumes and some cool stuff. But yeah.
Have you gotten to Joe Biden's island yet?
No, have you?
No, I haven't.
I haven't even seen it, but I probably should look up what it looks like. It's funny.
Pretty funny.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I like and then I think Rainbow Six Siege has I think that they have another Halloween event this year. I'm assuming because I think they do it every year now. But kind of want to check that out too. It's just fun. It's fun.
I feel like as I get older, I enjoy the Halloween season a lot more. Just like all the stuff, like the movies and the, I guess, culture of it is fun to be a part of it.
Yeah, it is fun. I agree. It's a good time. I kind of want to play like I want to play some horror games. Like I haven't really played anything like that in a long time, but I like some of them, but sometimes it's too much for me. Like it's so just intense
You can play some
and
Slender Man.
it makes me nervous. Yeah. Man, I used to have good times playing Slender Man. I remember me and my siblings would go in our room and we'd uh play it on my TV and just
Oh,
just
really?
everyone to start screaming. Yeah,
Well,
good times.
side note, did you ever hear about that like stabbing case where these two girls like in Wisconsin, they like stabbed one of their friends because Slender Man told them to do it or something like that?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Well,
remember that.
one of those little girls, my parents knew the grandma.
Oh,
The girl that
wow,
did it, yeah. Kind of crazy.
that is crazy.
Wisconsin's messed up, you know. We have all the crazies there.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Well, did you watch any movies this week or?
I did. Um,
Oh, what did you watch?
I did.
What
I
did you
do.
watch?
There's a couple. I watched a few things, but there's a couple things I definitely want to talk about. I watched.
Get
You
ready.
were talking about how you you wanted to watch the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies,
Oh,
so
yes.
I decided to watch Texas Chainsaw 3D because
Ooh.
I've never seen it and it always looked so bad, and I don't know, I've just never really wanted to watch it. And then I saw some people on the internet like defending it and saying it's actually not that bad, it's kind of good. And I was like, you know what? I'll give it a chance. I think it's on Amazon Prime. And I watched it and it's pretty bad. Um, it's pretty
How
bad.
long is it?
I think it's like an hour and a half, like probably like exactly 90 minutes, probably.
Do you have a 3D TV
No.
with some 3D glasses?
Remember when that was
Yeah, I know,
the
man.
thing?
My aunt and uncle, I remember they bought a 3D TV and you had to wear the special glasses to watch it. I
Uh-huh.
remember thinking it was so cool, and then I was like, yeah, but like, who actually wants to do this? Like, come on, let's be real.
No
I
one.
remember like watching some movies in 3D, but then like after a while, it's like, okay, this is annoying. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
It's crazy though.
It's
Everybody thought 3D was like the next thing, I feel like.
yeah, it's funny because it's one of those things. It was around a long time ago.
Like Spy
Uh,
Kids 3D.
Yeah, and even before then, like I even like I the third Friday the 13th was a 3D movie. It was Friday the 13th 3D. Like, so it was kind of a thing like in the late 80s, I think. And then it's just one of those things that died. And then, like, every once in a while, you get one of those movies like, oh, freaking Spy Kids 3D. And then all of a sudden, and what was it like? Was it 2009, 2010? Something like that? Like, all of a sudden, it was all the rage again. Like,
Yeah, I have no
every,
idea.
like, every movie was playing in 3D all of a sudden. So in theaters, you're seeing movies in 3D, and then they started making 3D TVs, and yeah, it's kind of a weird time.
I'm looking through the list right now, and starting in 2009 was when it started getting really big. And then 2010 is like a huge list. And then
Oh yeah,
2011,
2011.
yeah. And then it slowly started dying in 2012. It was big. Well, no, I would say 2013.
That makes sense.
But I mean, you look at like the list for like 2011, and you had like um Thor, you had Kung Fu Panda 2, Green Lantern, Transformers, The Smurfs, Final Destination 5, like all of those.
Interesting. It's
It's
crazy,
crazy.
crazy. I can't even remember what the last movie was that I saw in 3D. It's been a long time.
They even had a paranormal experience, like 3D movie.
Experience.
For me, I can't remember. That's so true. Like trying to think back, like on like the last 3D movie I saw.
Yeah, I can't. I really can't remember. I feel like I saw. I don't know. I
I
feel like the
to be
last
honest,
time
I
was.
think it might be Saw 3D, maybe Saw 3D or something,
Oh,
or maybe it was Jackass 3D, something like that. I remember seeing.
wow. I think the last one I saw was like in 2015 or something like that. I don't know what it was, but I remember. I think it was like a Marvel movie or something,
Well, you had
and I think it was.
wasn't Avatar the one that like really started that,
Oh
kind of
yeah,
like
that was
bringing it
like
back,
the. Yeah, that was like the one where
and
everyone was like,
Monsters vs
you
Aliens.
have to see Avatar in 3D. Like, make sure you see it in 3D,
Yeah,
guys. It's funny because I remember people saying stuff like that about some movies. Like, yeah, like in movie reviews and stuff, people would have to mention the 3D. Like, oh yeah, in this movie, like the 3D is really really good.
I
It's
remember reading.
worth seeing in 3D.
That's so true.
Or like, there's no reason this movie should be in 3D. And I remember them always like mentioning, yeah, they like post converted it. Like they didn't even shoot it in 3D, and then just like after they made the movie, they're like, okay, let's make it 3D. I just remember like reading that in like every review. Like everyone would talk about the 3D. And I remember what movie was it? What's the one Martin Scorsese movie? I can't think of it from 2011. The family movie. Uh, wow, that's driving me crazy. Hugo. I remember
Oh yeah.
Hugo. Hugo was playing in 3D, and I remember reading all the reviews and stuff for it, and everyone was like, "Yeah, the 3D is really great. Like, you should totally see it in 3D." And I think I did see it in 3D. Um, but yeah, it's just
Well,
funny.
I remember reading those reviews and like just seeing like what people were talking about, what was 3D or not, and if it was like worth it or like to pay for
Yeah,
it. And I just
yeah,
remember it be like, all that happens is like the sword comes out. That's it. And it's just like, okay,
hmm
that doesn't really matter.
yeah. Well, it's funny watching Texas Chainsaw because some of those movies were like so like it's so obvious like watching it like what
Yeah.
where like they're trying to get you with the 3D, and it's just really funny and cheesy. It's like, okay,
Well, it still
oh, this
baffles
is
me
the
when like
part.
you go to the movie theater, like you still see like the containers where you like throw away your 3D glasses.
Yeah.
And I'm always, or you still see movies being advertised in 3D. And I'm like, who's still going? Like the only
I don't
people I
know.
can think of going to those movies are the ones that couldn't get into the actual showing, like of a midnight release. So like this is like the last resort of like wanting to see it like the time the movie comes out. That's just my thought.
uh, yeah.
But anyways, so how you enjoyed it, or
Oh yeah, I mean I did for what it was. I think I knew what I
how
was
were the
getting myself
kills on
into.
a scale of 1 to 10?
Actually, some of the kills were actually kind of fun. Like I enjoyed some of the kills. Like they weren't anything too notable, but some of them were fun. All the characters are real dumb. Acting is pretty bad. I didn't really like Leatherface's mask in this one. It
Hmm.
just wasn't really doing it for me.
What did it look like?
It just looked like doo doo.
Oh,
Like if you look at it, it literally just looks like just poop. Um, so wasn't a big fan of that. So yeah, great movie, Texas Chainsaw 3D. But I watched another movie that I
oh yeah,
wanted
that
to talk
mask does
about.
look bad.
Um, from 1988, and it's a remake of the 50s movie The Blob. Um,
Yes.
this is a movie I've seen the original one before, and I enjoyed it. Um, it's just kind of a fun like 50s campy movie or whatever. And for whatever reason, I've always known that there's a remake of it from the 80s, but I've always thought it would. And I literally didn't know anything about it, but for some reason in my head, I was like, oh, that movie's dumb. I don't know why, but I just assumed it was really bad. And then I saw, I don't know what I saw about it recently, and I was like, oh, I need to watch that. And it's pretty great because it, the blob, um, like the kills in this movie are really cool and kind of creative and
Like
um,
what's like one of the
you just have to You just have to watch it.
Just tell one. Come on, everybody's leaning forward of their chair. They're anxious.
I'm trying to think. Well, there's just parts where um like you see people like trapped uh in the blob, and you just see all kinds of like people's faces getting destroyed, and
No,
like
beautiful.
yeah, it's just it's definitely gory, and the practical effects kind of remind me of like the effects in the thing. So it's pretty cool, and yeah, it's fun. So
So this is not a Sunday gather around and watch.
no, yeah, it is. It absolutely is. Watch it with the whole family. Um, yeah, it's pretty wild.
Well, from like what you were talking about, it sounded like it was good, and I feel like I'm the same way when I think of the Blob. I always think of like the really old one,
Hmm.
and so like I didn't, to be honest, I didn't even know that there was like a remake, but the remake looks really good. So
Oh, it's awesome, dude.
that's
It's so cool.
good. But I kind of want to watch the really old one, just because
Hmm.
of the nostalgia or whatever of it. But
Yeah, true, true. But
what
yeah,
about the
that's what I watched though.
nice?
Yeah, pretty fun. Good times. What about you? What have you been watching? I know you've kind of caught up on a couple new
Well, I
movies.
watched. I meant to watch The Social Network when it had like its anniversary or whatever,
Uh-huh.
but I just kept forgetting about it. And I was just looking through Netflix like earlier in the week, and I was like, you know what? I want to watch The Social Network. I haven't seen it forever. And I was watching it. Still such a good movie. I loved everybody's performances in it. Um, do you like the movie, right?
Oh yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
I just love how it goes back and forth between like the subpoena hearings and then kind of like what's happening, like how it started or whatever. It was funny because my wife has never seen the movie, and she was watching like the first like couple minutes of it, and she's like, "Wow, Mark Zuckerberg's kind of an asshole." I was like, "Yep,
Yeah.
yep, that's the movie." But I love like the little one-liners like in the movie and everything, and um, yeah, it's a classic. I'm glad that I watched it. And then I watched a little bit of the good, probably the best movie of 2020 so far. I watched Hubie Halloween, the first couple minutes of it. And
First couple minutes.
no, I'm just kidding. I watched probably like a half hour of it.
Nice.
But I, it's it's definitely dumb. It's a dumb Adam Sandler movie. But of course, like you have like the classic gang, like the his like group of friends or whatever, Adam Sandler's friends in it. And so it's gonna be like these stupid jokes, but it's stupid funny. But I was telling you about it earlier in the week. What I like about it is they have like these little like um sayings or like in certain scenes where it kind of like ties in with some of like Adam Sandler's classic movies.
Hmm.
So you hear like Doyle rules, from
Yeah.
like Billy. Then you see like Ben Stiller from Happy Gilmore, and it's kind of funny to see like all that kind of stuff like from his old ones in this movie. And I can't wait to kind of like continue to watch and see what else is gonna be.
Yeah, it's
But
funny. Well, do you see that
it's
the meme that I sent you is like guys only want one thing and it's disgusting, and it's the Adam Sandler cinematic universe. All the Adam Sandler
oh
movies
yeah,
because of that, because
yeah.
that's because they're teasing the cinematic universe there.
Well, which is funny because
We,
then in this movie, kind of doing that.
that's why they made the meme.
But I think like didn't Adam Sandler say that he wanted to do that? Maybe.
Oh, I don't know. Probably. I wouldn't be surprised. That'd be great though.
I swear I read something that said that. Yeah, Adam Sandler wants to make a cinematic universe with all of his characters. That was like 2 weeks ago.
What if they made? What if this whole like live action Into the Spider-Verse thing happens, and what if Adam Sandler plays a version of Spider-Man?
That would be
I think
hilarious.
that'd be good.
I'd see it opening night. I would drive wherever just to see it. But anyways, yeah, it's an okay movie. It's nothing special, but it's Adam Sandler, so I'll watch or whatever. And then I had the privilege to watch Borat 2.
Nice. How was it?
That just came out, and it's funny, just like the little stuff that he does. It's definitely not as good as the first one, but it definitely has like a lot of like funny things in it. Just him, and especially like his co-star, like that's acting as his daughter. Like she's pretty funny in it as well. Like, yeah, I
Very
don't know. I
nice.
don't want to spoil anything, but
Yeah,
Wawa.
I'm really excited to watch it. I'm sure it
But
looks
that
funny.
Rudy scene,
I
man.
know. I keep seeing all kinds of stuff about it, and I haven't read what it
That
is.
flip and tuck, the flip and tuck, the flip and tuck.
Say no more.
It's
I
one of
can't
those
wait.
things where it's going to be this discussion that people are probably going to have the next 10 years or so. Is he tucking his shirt or is he doing a flip and tuck? And I'm on flip and tuck.
Okay. Can't wait. Um,
So,
nice, dude. Nice. Well, that's interesting. So you said it's not as good as the original one, but you know what I noticed? Because I knew you were gonna say this, but I saw you gave the original one 3 stars on Letterboxd, but then you gave Borat's subsequent movie film 3.5 stars out of 5. So defend yourself.
well, to be fair, I haven't watched Borat 1 in such a long time that I think if I rewatched it, I probably would give Borat, the first one, a higher rating.
Okay. I just had to, I just had to point that out because I know the people in the comments section they're gonna get mad. They're gonna be like, "Hey, you said that the first one's better, but how come the score is lower? Please explain yourself, sir."
You caught me doing the classic Walter White. You got me.
That's funny. Awesome. I am excited to watch it though. Hopefully today or something.
And it's not that long. Like
Like an hour and a half or something.
Yeah. Maybe a little bit longer than his last one, just because. Did you see David's review? It's pretty funny.
Oh
He
yeah.
just said Rudy Giuliani.
My life.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So
Awesome.
yeah, that's all I watched. So
Nice.
but yeah.
Very cool.
Is there anything else that you want to talk about before we jump right into
No, man. I think we should just jump right in and let's
into it? Okay, let's start off with The Beyond.
Okay, good choice.
Yes, let's get into it.
I was
the
thinking
one that you chose, though.
Yeah, I was thinking let's talk about Beyond first because when we talk about The Vanishing, I don't what was I gonna say? I don't know. No, because I'm like I want people to watch The Vanishing so bad, and I don't want them to listen. Like I want to talk about the movie, but I don't want to spoil it. And so, anyway, we'll probably spoil it, but you should watch these movies. But definitely watch The Vanishing because it's good.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, but The Beyond. So we watched another Italian horror film from
Italiano
from director Lucio Fulci, and this one's interesting because it was filmed in the United States in Louisiana. The movie takes place in New Orleans or whatever, and but the movie's so Italian, and pretty much the whole cast and crew for the most part, I think. Everyone's pretty much Italian. There's probably some Americans, but I think for the most part it's all Italians. So it's kind of interesting because it just feels kind of funny, like because it feels so Italian, but it's so obviously Louisiana and everything. But anyway, so this movie came out in 1981. I think it actually didn't get released in the United States until a few years later. And when
Yeah.
it did, I saw it was, I don't know if it was different, if it was cut or something, but it also had like a totally different score for the movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so I'm curious. I kind of want to go and see if I could find like the music for, because what we watched is the original score, the Italian version. Um, but I'm curious what the difference is. Um, but it's a horror film. It's part of the Gates of Hell trilogy, which are not. It's the kind of thing, kind of like Dario Argento's trilogy with the Three Mothers trilogy, where they're
Yeah.
they're connected, but they're not
Not
not really though. Like you don't need to watch the other ones. Like it's totally different characters, different plot, and everything. Um,
which one does it, where would this fall
this
in? The
this is the
Beyond.
second one.
Okay. I mean that would make sense. Like thinking about it now, it being a trilogy, I could see this being like a part of a second one.
So the first one's called City of the Living Dead, and then the Beyond is the second one, and then the third one's called The House by the Cemetery, which I
Hmm.
actually just watched those two for the first time this month, a few weeks ago. Um, and I've always wanted to watch them because I've always loved the Beyond since I first saw it, and so it's fun watching those finally. And those are good. And I will say, watching those, I was like, these are good. And then going into this movie, it had me kind of worried. I'm like, man, I feel like, I don't know, is this movie going to be as good as I remember it? Because it's been a long time since I've seen it. And um, but watching it again, I really love this movie a lot, and I think this one's by far the best of the trilogy. The other ones are good, and they have a lot of good moments, and like some really cool kills, as you can expect, some cool gore and
Yeah.
everything. But this one has like the coolest kind of atmosphere and story. Um, so it takes place in New Orleans. Um,
So is it New Orleans or New Orleans?
well, I say New Orleans,
New Orleans?
Nolans.
Nolans?
Yeah.
One of those?
Yeah. What do you say? Do you say New Orleans?
Yeah.
You say New Orleans? Well,
New Orleans.
well,
It's kind of
you should.
like Illinois people. I remember when I moved to Wisconsin, I said Illinois, and everybody looked at me like
You're wrong.
what are you doing?
Yeah, that's fine.
No, I say New Orleans. New
New
Orleans.
Orleans.
New Orleans.
Orleans.
Now I'm thinking about that like the rest of the night. Like, am I pronouncing it right or not?
Some crawfish. Um. Okay. So anyway, so there's.
Sorry
That's
about
okay.
that.
I'm like. Um.
Anyways.
Oh, and also when it was released in the United States, I think it was called. It had a different title. It was called Seven Doors of Death. Which they
Okay.
referenced that in the movie, but for whatever reason they changed the name. Um, so it's a basically there's this hotel that this girl from New York inherits from, I don't even remember who, what her, what it was, like a uncle or something. I can't even remember who it was. But anyway, she found out about a relative who died, and they left the hotel to her or whatever, and so she came and she's trying to renovate it,
Hmm.
and um, as they start doing that, some things start happening, and people people start dying, and you kind of find out that that where the hotel is actually like it's a gate to hell, pretty much. Um, so yeah, it's pretty interesting. Um, and it's really kind of surreal and has like some supernatural stuff going on. Um, but what did you think about this movie, Nate? What are your
Well,
thoughts?
I mean, so it's like my first time seeing it, and I really do like these Italian horror films. They're interesting the way that they go about like how the people die and all of that kind of just like some of the scenes too, they make it really dramatic.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I'm watching this movie, and every time it's just, I feel like a lot of the times in these scary movies that you see, they like if it's like a quick kill, like a person getting chopped in half or something like that, it's quick, it's over.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I'm used to. But in this movie, like when the acid was like pouring
Oh,
on like the mom's face, it was like a 5-minute scene, or it felt
it
like.
felt
I'm like, okay,
it went on for a long
so I
time.
get it.
And the daughter,
And it almost looked like they like reshot like the same like, or like they edited like the same scene in it, like when her like skull's kind of like opening up or whatever from
hmm
it. And I'm like, I just saw that. Like, why are you showing it more? I get what's happening. And then like it just shows the daughter like trying to like run away from like this foamed up bloody acid mixture.
yeah, that
And I'm like, why are you? And she runs past the elevator. I'm like, what the hell's happening? Um, so it's just like something like that. So I mean, it was entertaining, but the way that I described it is, it was like nail biting, but it wasn't because like I was scared. It was just like one of those things that was like, oh, okay,
yeah.
like even like the spiders scene, like where like you just see the spiders crawling like out, and you see them like crawling on the guy. Ugh. Because I'm pretty sure like I have like arachnophobia or whatever,
Uh-huh.
and so like the whole scene, I was like, I can't imagine being that person laying there with having all those spiders on them
Did
and crawling on the face and
did you like
everything.
the sound that they made? They're like so like loud and just sounded so gross. Like the sound,
And then
that.
when they shot it from like the point of view of like what it would look like if the spiders were on
Oh yeah.
you, and like you can see the fangs and everything, I'm like, count me out, boss. Like, I was super close to skipping the scene. I was like,
That's
I just
funny.
don't want to do this right now. And then it shows like the spiders like biting the guy. Which, fun note, the editor that did like the scene of biting the guy or whatever with these spiders, he did the spider bite in Spider-Man 2002.
That's cool.
So kind of interesting. But besides that, like it was a good movie. I mean, when I look back at it, it's kind of like one of those things where I don't really exactly know the direction that the movie was trying to go. Like,
hmm
it felt like a haunting movie in the beginning, when like the guy sees like that girl like in the window and he falls off the scaffolding, and then it turned into like this guy that like is killing everybody, and then it turns into everybody's zombies now. So I was like, I'm lost.
Yeah, this is a movie
I was
that
just
there's very little logic in what's happening. I feel like just a lot of things that kind of just don't really make a whole lot of sense, and you kind of just gotta like
yeah.
just.
It's still entertaining though, for sure.
Oh yeah, oh it's very entertaining. I the all those kills that you're talking about, they're so interesting because they really do linger on every single
Yeah.
death or whatever. It lingers for a long time, and it's really gruesome. And I mean, all these scenes, I mean, with the spiders tearing up that guy's face, you're like, holy crap. Like, it makes no sense, but it's terrifying. Like, that is so gross and scary. um
Well, even the one. Go
no,
ahead.
go. Even the one,
No,
what?
go ahead. Go ahead. Go
No,
ahead.
no,
No.
I
No, just say even like the woman that was like getting pushed by like the main zombie guy or whatever.
onto.
You're like, I know what's gonna happen. Just make it happen. I
hmm
get there's a nail sticking
Yeah,
out of the wall. Just do it already. And then finally, like the scene, like the nail just goes to the back of the head or
but were
whatever.
you
And
ready for that eyeball though?
hey, you know what? Why isn't this movie 3D? We were just talking about it. Perfect example right there.
hmm Yeah,
They
watch.
should make this movie in 3D. The spiders and everything would be perfect.
Yeah, that'd be great. That the part with that nail, I remember, and I'm like, okay, cool, yeah. Like, I get excited, and
Let's
but I
do it.
forgot that it goes through her eye, and I was like, oh yeah. And then just the eye just pops out, and you're like,
Just a
oh,
little flesh wound.
yeah, just a little flesh wound. Oh, they really went there and did that. Uh, and I feel, wasn't there another eyeball thing too? Where was the other?
Well, that was like in the beginning with Joe the plumber, where
Joe
the
the Plumber.
zombie like just like digs in the guy's
Oh
eye,
yeah.
and it's the only part where I feel like they didn't really show like an excruciating like kill or whatever. But like you know that the guy is digging his finger in
Yeah.
the plumber's eye to like rip it out.
Oh yeah.
It's like, oh. So
Oh yeah. Um, and the scene that you were talking about where the daughter walks in and she sees her mom. I don't even know exactly what happened, but she knocked over that thing of acid and it's just pouring on her face. And the
yeah,
daughter's just standing there, just like freaking out,
I
just
know, I
watching
know.
as this thing just is slowly pouring and just destroying this
Just
lady's face.
no reaction, just watching the whole time. Like, okay,
Yeah. Um, so
see you, mom.
that was
Deuces.
beautiful. And then and I like how in this movie too, there's uh there's another blind person who gets attacked by their own dog. Wasn't the guy in Suspiria? Who remember there was a blind guy who his dog attacked him?
Yeah, yeah,
Same
yeah.
thing happens here.
hmm I had a feeling that it was gonna
Yeah.
happen, but it still did surprise me when I was like, oh, okay, like I figured like eventually it was gonna. I was kind of torn both ways. I was like, okay, well the dog looks like it's just gonna go after this guy, and you see everything, and then the dog comes back, and then all of a sudden like it just bites on or whatever. I'm like, oh, never
Yeah,
mind.
that part watching it again this time, like I couldn't remember. There's certain parts that I really didn't really remember exactly what happened. And that part I kind of like uh I was kind of talking to myself during that part. I was like, "Oh no." Like doing another one of those because it was just
Like biting the ear off and like the
yeah, it just
face and everything.
tears up her like her neck and then bites her ear off and you're like,
Mhm.
"Oh, okay."
Gruesome.
And all the zombies and when they're in that room and they're all just kind of like standing around in a circle or whatever. Oh, it was also I thought that part was kind of funny too when she was yelling at what was her dog's name? I can't remember. Like freaking Johnny or something.
Uh, I can't remember, but yeah, she
She was
was like
yelling at her
yelling
dog,
over and over.
"Attack! Protect me!" or whatever. I can't remember exactly what she was yelling, but I thought it was really funny.
Well, then it gets silent, so then you're like, oh shoot, did the guy kill the
Oh
dog?
yeah,
And then the dog just like comes over and it's just bloody a little bit, and then yeah, next scene,
yeah.
bam.
Um, but I like the
The Italians love it.
yeah, yes. Um, yeah. So this has been fun. I was excited to to show you some Italian horror films. It's one of those things where I mean, you've probably like these movies. Like I've never seen anything like it. You know, it's like this is
Mm.
in some aspects. I mean, just the way that it's made and everything. It's just like it's just so different and just kind of strange but cool. Um,
I have one question
yeah,
for you.
go ahead.
So if you were in the hospital, you're the
Mhm.
doctor, and you see all these zombies, and you start noticing that when you shoot three of them in the head and they fall to the ground, that obviously shooting them in the head works,
Yeah,
right?
right.
But then for 15 minutes, you just see this doctor shooting these zombies
In
repeatedly in the
hmm
body, and I kept thinking, okay, you already killed at least 8 of them in the head. Is it not clicking? Hello?
yeah, he definitely
That's the only thing that bothered me about the
uh-huh.
movie was the fact that like the doctor didn't realize like at all like that shooting the zombies in the head
Yeah, that
worked.
was super funny. I was the whole time I was just thinking, I was like, man, this guy seriously makes stormtroopers look like elite snipers. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
how does he have how is he a worse shot? Like, why are you not shooting him in the head, bro?
Well, and then it makes me think of like the whole scene with that little girl where the little girl immediately like just goes when they're like in the basement, like in the uh what's it called? The just like in the hospital, like the basement or whatever, where they're holding all the bodies.
Hmm.
And like the little girl goes after like that woman and he just immediately turns and just like shoots like in the
Oh yeah.
face. And I'm like, okay, well now do you get it?
Yeah, do you get it now or what?
But I did like that scene where they're like running around and then they go through that door at the end and then they end up back in the basement.
Oh yeah.
Because I had a feeling like something was
Hmm.
fishy. And then like it was nice to see that they were like, wait, what's happening right now? Why are we back in the basement?
Yeah.
And then next you know, they're like in the painting or whatever. So I did the ending was like confusing, but I thought like it was a good a good
Yeah,
end.
I really love the ending. I think the ending is just really cool, and it's just
Ties
very
it.
like atmospheric and kind of trippy and just like whoa. Um, yeah, I really like the end a lot, and I think that's why I like this one um more than the others in this trilogy because I just kind of like the more of like the supernatural element of it and uh just the weirdness and just the atmosphere is really cool. And I
Well, even though go ahead.
no, even though
Sorry.
what I was just gonna say the
No,
score.
it's just
I was just gonna say the score. I really like the music in this one too. Like it kind of adds
hmm
to it too. Same with like any Argento movie or whatever. But what were you gonna say? Sure.
No, I was just gonna say, like, even though like it felt like it was kind of like all over the place with like the direction they were trying to do, like with zombies or haunting or like that kind of stuff,
Hmm.
I still feel like I was glued in and I didn't really care that much like about like I didn't care about the plot at all. I was just enjoying the
Yeah,
movie. So,
that's good. Yeah, I feel like that's kind of uh yeah. That's with these movies. With Fulci's movies, they're definitely like that. Where I feel like the gore and the practical effects and everything, and just kind of the mood and atmosphere of it all is kind of the it's kind of what makes it what it is. And then like the story or whatever is kind of it just is what it is. It's okay. It's kind of cool, but nothing too crazy or anything. But yeah, just fun. Um, was there any thoughts you had closing
mm-mm.
out here?
No,
Nah.
it was an enjoyable
Oh,
movie.
I'm glad.
I gave it 4 stars, but I'm sure if I watched it again, I probably would give it a higher rating.
Wow, that makes me so happy because pretty much all these movies that I've picked this month, I had no idea. Like I normally know like what you like and everything, and when I was picking, it was like, oh, I was like, Nate's maybe gonna hate The Beyond and Basket Case. Like I was kind of getting excited. Like I hope he.
Basket Case is still my
I'm
favorite.
glad. I'm glad. But yeah, I've definitely picked. I feel like the things that I've picked this month have been kind of like weird, gory films from the 80s.
Hmm
They've all been kind of just different and probably yeah. I was excited to make you watch them because I figured you haven't really seen anything like Basket Case or some of these movies, but I love this movie. I'm really glad that you liked it. I think that this is one of the best like um one of the best movies with just awesome practical effects and really cool kills and um great uh zombie makeup and has a really
hmm
cool atmosphere and it's definitely there's a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense. A lot of things that are just like just there's there's no logic in a lot of things. It's like what is that?
No,
But I
exactly.
love it, and for that I give it 5 stars.
5 stars.
Yeah,
Nice.
I really love this movie. I had so much fun watching it again, and I was worried that I wouldn't like it as much because it's been so long since I've seen it. Like, oh, I hope it holds up, but nah, I loved it
It
even
definitely
more.
does. I would definitely watch it like every Halloween or like every
Ooh,
once in a while.
awesome.
Now I'm curious about watching like the other ones just to see what they're like.
Yeah, he
Kind of.
has some of those other ones are like on Shutter and stuff. There's another one that I still haven't seen, but I want to watch sometime soon. It's called Zombie. Um, but in this one. This is one of his more famous movies. It was called in Italy. It's called Zombie 2
Hmm.
because so Dawn of the Dead was titled Zombie in Italy. And in Italy, during this period, they would make fake sequels basically to all kinds of movies. Like they'd make like Alien 2 or something, and they just make it. And it'd be nothing like Alien. Yeah,
What?
you can find lots of movies like this. And Zombie 2, I haven't seen it, but I'm not sure if it really ties in at all, even to Dawn of the Dead at all. But this
Yeah.
is one of those things where I'll have to find like a list of um some movies like that, but it was really common um to do that or to just make like just total rip-offs of movies. Like I remember there was some like Alien rip-off that was some Italian movie. So,
Oh, I can't, that's gotta be so funny to
yeah,
see.
man. So, there's all kinds of fun little fake sequels and rip-off movies, and like I think that there's even like Italian like Star Wars movies. I think. Um, but I'll have to, yeah, Italian Star Wars ripoff. Let me look at this real quick. There's a movie called Star Odyssey. It's kind of a movie that is either insufferable or hilarious, depending on your mood. Blah blah blah. Star is a Italian cash-in on the Star Wars craze. Yes, there's a lot of there's a lot of movies like that.
When did that come out?
Doesn't say here. I have to look. Star Odyssey. Sometime like in the 80s. Let's see. Oh,
And that's why it's.
1979.
Oh, okay. So just kind of round up.
Yeah. Looks like a great movie. It has a
The Italian.
2.7 on IMDb.
Hey, not bad,
Not
not
too
bad.
shabby. So,
How many 5 stars?
I don't know. I don't know how to sort like that on IMDb, but
True.
uh,
What is it? What
it's
is it
called
called?
Star
Space.
Odyssey. And even in the
Oh, star.
poster, there's a guy with a lightsaber.
Oh,
Yeah, or like
really?
a lightsaber looking thing, and like a spaceship in the back. It looks awesome.
Yeah, look at this dude. That's. uh, there's 4 5-star ratings,
Nice. Very
but
nice.
majority of people gave it 1 star.
There's another movie called Star Crash, Message from Space. I'm just reading like Battle Beyond the Stars. The poster looks hilarious. Yeah, there's
Someone gave it a 1/2 star because of the robots and the lightsaber battles.
that's awesome. Uh, maybe for a future episode we should watch a couple
We might just have to
a
watch like
couple
a
of
really
these.
bad movie.
Yeah, I think that sounds like fun. Because I've been wanting to watch some of these movies, like Star Crash is one that I've wanted to watch before. I think some of them look like a good time, man. What if they're better than Star Wars? You never know.
I'm watching like the trailer right now, and it's really funny because it shows like a rocket like launching off like a typical like rocket pad or something like that.
Nice.
And the guy that's supposed to be like Darth Vader just looks so bad. And there's a guy like skipping around and laughing
That's
and stuff.
awesome.
Yeah. Oh, the robots. Oh, dude, the robots so bad. What the hell is this? Oh, this looks so bad, dude. Oh,
Yeah,
that's funny. See, you gotta love Letterboxd. You wouldn't see that kind of stuff if it wasn't for it.
exactly. I love discovering weird weird stuff like that.
Good job, Italians.
Yeah, man.
Maybe a couple more years and you could have done a better job. It's okay. That's fine. Well, the next movie that we watched was The Vanishing. And the one we're talking about is the original 1988 one.
Yes.
There was a remake in
Yeah,
1993.
Nate almost watched the
Um,
remake.
well, I swear I clicked on the one that had that. I don't know why it took me to.
Yeah, you texted me. You're like, "Hey, is it on? Did you watch it on Stars?" And I went. I'm like, "Wait, no, it's on Criterion Channel."
Yeah, I
And
was
I went and I
confused.
clicked on the remake, and I saw that it's available on Stars. I was like, "No, don't watch the remake. Don't watch it. Watch the original one." Um,
Hmm.
so that's funny. I do kind of want to watch the remake now too, though, because I'm
No,
curious. Because it
same.
has.
And I saw some reviews where people were saying that like it's obviously this one's better, but they're saying that like the remake isn't as bad as like what people were
That makes
saying.
sense. And it's from the same. I mean, the same director. I mean, he made it. So,
Hmm.
I mean, I would think it's not so bad. It's got Jeff Bridges.
But yeah, that's
So
true. But I mean, basically, it is a thriller film about this man who it just shows like the first like 15 minutes of him traveling with his girlfriend.
I think he
And
referenced her as his wife at a certain
yeah,
point,
that's
but
what I
then
thought.
also it sounds like a lot of parts. It sounds like
And
a
then it
girlfriend.
said
Yeah, yeah,
friend.
yeah. Everyone like said friend, but he said wife at some point. So I was like, I don't really know exactly, but
I'm just gonna say girlfriend. Maybe it's just that
yeah,
language,
that's
like
true.
when
When they
it,
translated it, maybe.
or like how they like talk about it or something like that. Yeah, maybe it's
Cause
just the
yeah, cause
translation.
sometimes with translations you might get like some funky things.
Hmm. We'll go with
Yeah.
girlfriend because they were kissing and stuff. Um,
Cause married
but
married couples don't
anyways,
kiss. I'm just
well, no,
I'm
no, no,
just
no.
kidding, but yeah, I assume girlfriend,
Yeah,
maybe
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 wife,
wife, my wife,
or
or
maybe just a really close
yeah,
friend.
one of
One of
those,
those.
a friend.
Uh, but basically, it's about a male. This guy Rex, and they are Dutch, and they're traveling on holiday in France. And he is with his girlfriend Saskia.
Saskia,
Saskia, what'd
yeah,
you say?
Saskia.
Where they're just traveling, and then um, yeah, they're going on vacation, and they run out of gas like in this tunnel, and like right away, I was like, oh well, here we go. This is how she disappeared. Okay, cool. Get it out of the way, awesome. And now we're gonna have like the rest of like the hour and 30 minutes of him trying to find her or whatever. And the funniest part about that whole scene, what I was thinking about, to be honest, not really like if she was gonna vanish or not, but was the fact that she tells him, "Hey, like, do you need to get gas?" And he's like, "No, I don't need to." And then they end up running out of gas in the tunnel, and then he starts getting pissed at her. And I'm like, "Bro, you're the one that like said you were fine and everything like that." And he's like, "You stay in the car, I'm leaving. Like, I'm leaving. You stop her and everything." Like he was just getting mad.
Yeah, that
I thought it was
whole
pretty.
fight, like I was like, wait, did I miss something? Why are they like why is he
Yeah.
so mad?
And then she's like getting all upset, like, I'm grabbing a flashlight, kind of
Yeah.
thing. And so, like, when he comes back after he gets gas, like, the whole thing I'm thinking about is, like, okay, like, yeah, she's gone. Like, you don't see her in the car. And then he's, like, driving. And then you see her at the end of the tunnel. I'm like, okay, I like how they kind of did that. Where it's, like, still, like, you're on, like, the edge of your seat. Like, okay, here we go. But I guess that's, like, if you read the synopsis before the movie. Like, I guess, like, if you didn't really know what it was about. Well, I guess the movie
The
says
yeah.
vanishing, so. But anyway, yeah, well, duh. But anyways, they continue the trip and they stop like at a rest stop, and the girlfriend goes into the store to grab some drinks, and then time passes by and like she's not back. So then like the boyfriend's like going around trying to figure out where she is, and he can't find her. And then it fast forwards to like 3 years, and he's like searching for her. But what I really liked about this film was how they also were showing like a timeline and like life story kind of thing of the guy that kidnapped her. And I thought that was really interesting how you have this man, Raymond, that has a family, just going about his thing. And then the whole scene where he's like experimenting with the chloroform
Hmm.
and like how he would pour it in, how he would do it, timing himself, calculating everything. I'm like, this is like this is crazy. Like, what the hell is happening right now? And then he gets like upset because like the bottle like it leaks in his pocket, so he has to do it like all over again. He's trying to like make sure he gets it. And then like pretty much the whole movie, like what you thought it was gonna be, like this guy trying to find his girlfriend, it's really like about this kidnapper of like who he is and why, like what he's doing and everything. So I thought it was really interesting. And then just as the movie goes about, just everything kind of comes full circle. The kidnapper meets up with the boyfriend and trying to telling like the whole story of like how he did it or like why he did it kind of thing. And it's just I can't imagine being in that position,
Yeah.
like knowing that he did this and he was like writing notes to you during like the whole time, like the last 3 years, and secretly just watching you. Like that what's it called? That
Hmm.
cafe scene where he's just you see him blurred in the background. I'm like, can you imagine
Yeah.
that? It's like one of those things where like maybe real life killers or whatever, like you wonder like if they do that as well. And so I really liked how the director he kind of did that in this movie, made the killer like a part of it. It's not just the story about Rex trying to find his girlfriend, but it's also the guy, like how he
Hmm.
did it. So and you don't see anything either. They don't. I mean, you see that kind of at the end, like
Oh
how
yeah.
he did it,
Finally.
but you don't see like what you
Hmm.
don't know what happened to Saskia. So
Yeah.
yeah, what did
Oh,
you think about
I
it?
loved it. I thought that this movie was.
Yeah.
I thought that the pacing of this movie was perfect, and the way that it builds tension,
Mm-hmm.
like from the very beginning, it
Oh
just
yeah.
constantly is just slowly building this tension. And I mean like that opening scene, I thought the same thing, like in the tunnel, like, oh, is she gone now or what? And then you're like, oh, okay, she's still there. And then the whole scene at the gas station, there's something about it that is like it's just scary because um it's something that like we've all experienced that in like some sort of way where you're like,
Uh-huh.
oh, where's my kid, or where where's my partner or whatever, because they're not coming back from the bathroom or whatever it is, and there's a lot of people and you can't find them. Like it's all, like that's happened to me all the time. Where you're like, oh, where'd they go?
Yeah.
And then time goes on. And you're like, okay, they've been gone for 30 minutes now or whatever, and he starts freaking out. And I feel like
Mm-hmm.
that whole part was filmed really well, and it just builds that tension. And then as he kind of finds out, and he like looks at his Polaroid picture, and he's kind of is piecing the clues together and figuring out like, oh, she left with some dude. Um, and then I wasn't expecting for it to. Then it basically just jumps right to the killer and who kidnapped her, and um, and you see him with his family and everything, and you get to know him throughout the film. And at first, you're not sure exactly what you're seeing, but then as it keeps going, you realize like, oh, okay, like the movie's kind of catching us up. Like it's kind of showing like
Yeah.
where, before when he was kind of figuring out how to do all this and kind of perfecting like how to kidnap
Mm-hmm.
these girls or whatever. Um, and then
Because he had various methods that weren't
yeah,
working, so it's like
yeah, he kind of perfected it and figured it out, and then that's when you know he kidnapped her, because that's so it shows how it like how everything led up to that for him, and you kind of get to know him, and you get to know about his past and how he's you see like some of the things that he did, like when he was a kid and he like jumped um off the balcony
yeah, that
thing or
was a
whatever.
very I love the tie-in with that movie into the movie when they
Hmm.
did that because it kind of like shows like his
Yeah,
mindset.
exactly. You kind of kind of see, you kind of get him in some ways, like you're like, I get why,
Hmm.
yeah, you're like, I can see it. And it's just really, he's so good. I thought all the performances were really good, and I really liked the guy that played Raymond. I thought
Oh yeah.
he was just so, like, he seems normal, but then, you see him just being, he's so weird, such a strange guy. Um, but yeah, I really like the way it kind of, you get like all of a sudden you get to meet Raymond and everything, and it slowly kind of feeds you information and things throughout the movie until the end where you find out exactly what happened and everything. And I really, really loved the ending of the movie. It
Oh
was
yeah, same.
perfect. Like, I thought the ending was so good. It just, the way it builds suspense, and just that whole aspect of him, Raymond coming to find Rex, and that he talks to him and tells him like, "Hey, I did it." And, like, you can find out, if you come with me in the car, and we'll drive back to France or whatever, and I'll show you what happened. I'll tell you everything that whatever I did and what happened to your girlfriend, basically, Saskia. And
Well, especially the part where he finally like shows up to the apartment complex, and the first thing Rex does is beat him up, and Raymond's just getting the shit
mhm.
knocked out of him, and then he just like gets up and he's like, "Well, I'm leaving. You can come with me like when you're done." And it's just like, dude, like, what are you talking
Yeah.
about? Like, I just love how he's like, "Well, now that you're done, like, do you want to come with me and like I can talk to you about it because or you can just stay here." And it's just like I feel like that's all that he was doing with him, like toying with him, like every single year was, "Hey, you can continue doing like this shenanigans trying to find your wife, but like if you figure out the clues, if you want to talk to me, like I'll tell you everything." And so it's just kind of interesting. And especially like the whole part like where he's with his family watching the TV when like Rex is like pleading with
Yeah.
people like trying to like about the case, and then that's when like Raymond was like, "Well, okay, sure, I'll meet with him now like after watching you on TV." And it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, that's weird. Um, yeah, it's pretty crazy. And then just like the whole, like, I like the whole drive, like when they're just driving together, and it's just like really, it's just weird that they're in a car together, And he's like, "Oh, if you're hungry,
I,
I brought, I brought food or whatever."
yeah. And one's cut in
Yeah,
diagonals and
yeah,
one's not, and I'm like, exactly which sandwiches
yeah,
is Raymond's
yeah.
because he's that
Uh,
perfectionist, so like it makes perfect sense. And how he planned everything, and like how he's like, "Hey, give me like your passport," and like just everything. Like he knew exactly what was
hmm
gonna happen. It's like he planned it and everything. He knew what he was gonna do. And so, and it's so hard because every movie that we've done for the movie club on this podcast, we have talked about like the end of the movies and kind of
hmm
spoiled everything. But this is like the first one where I do not want to share at all. Like I want whoever's listening to this podcast, I want you to watch the end of this. I want you to watch it, and I don't want to spoil really anything,
Okay.
especially like what happens at the end.
We
It's hard because I really
we
want
are
to
we
talk
already
about it,
spoiled so
but
we spoiled so much. So
well, yeah, we spoiled a lot of it, but the end, it's the end is one of those things where like I was caught off guard at
yeah.
least. And so I want everybody to be able to experience that like their first time watching it. So
Okay, how about this?
if
We're
you want to talk
almost
about it, we
done. So
can.
what about this? If you haven't seen it, and if you're interested in
Okay,
watching
yeah.
it, just stop the podcast now. We're literally gonna maybe talk for like a few more minutes,
Yeah.
um, and just talk about the end. That way we could still talk about it. But um,
Okay,
yeah,
so
just
pause right
pause,
now. Pause
leave,
right now.
go watch the movie, and then if you want to come back and listen to a few minutes of us talk about the end, you're more than welcome to. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm right there with you. I don't want to
Okay, we
spoil it for people, but I
uh,
want to talk about it. You know?
Okay, now that
Okay,
everybody's gone and they
bye.
paused it and they're watching it. Holy shit, though. Like, just, you knew exactly what was gonna happen, but not in the. I didn't
Yeah,
expect that.
there's something. The way that whole thing, it's just you keep asking like, is it what's gonna happen? Is it gonna be okay?
Is he? Is he not going to? Like,
Is
is
it
he just
just
gonna take him and
yeah? Is
just
it just like
show
some
him?
sort of test or what? And sure enough, um, freaking he wakes up in it and he's buried. It's like buried
Buried
alive.
alive.
Um, I I loved that. It was so like I didn't know what was gonna happen, and I was like scared. And but you knew that he was gonna do it because he is dying to know. Like he has to know what happened. And this is the
Oh
only
yeah.
thing. This is his only way of knowing is he has to, drink this coffee with a sleeping pill or whatever. Um,
When I love how he's running
yeah,
around like
and
the
then that
trees,
music's
like
playing.
it's like that thing where he's like trying to figure it out, like what I want to do. But I
Yeah.
loved that scene. Before we talk about it, I love the scene where it just shows Raymond sitting in the car, like when Rex is looking at him, and you just see it's very dark in there with little light, and you just see the windshield wipers every so often clearing it so you can see him. Otherwise, like
Hmm.
the rain's like blurring his face, and then it clears it, and you just see like this very stone faced person just like waiting for him to do it because he knows that he's gonna do
Yeah.
it, and just he gets buried alive, and all he has is a lighter, and he's just then he just what did he laugh? I feel like he laughed like towards like when he started realizing
Oh
what was
man,
happening.
I can't remember if you laughed or not, but maybe. I
I
I
think
feel
he
like
was just like maybe
I would
like
that's something I would do. Like I would probably start screaming and then laugh. Be like,
just like yeah, okay, yeah, this is what it is, okay.
oh.
But damn, dude, but that scene though, when like he's sitting at the country home and the camera is like, like kind of like panning like over everything, and then it zooms out and you see the wife walking over and watering two
Yep.
bushes, and you're like, yep, there they are.
There they are,
There they are.
Romeo and Juliet
And
style.
it's like, holy shit. Yeah, dude. And then the next thing you know, it pans to the guy's car and you
Oh
see
yeah,
how it talks about how the lovers are now, how they're both they're
yeah.
disappeared
I
or
like that
whatever.
little
Like, holy
thing.
shit, dude. Yeah, that end really just summed everything
Yeah,
together, and I loved it.
yeah. It was really good.
So, so hopefully you didn't hear any of that. You paused it and now you're
Yeah.
back. But damn, though, I didn't expect that at all. It was such a good movie.
Yeah, I really
So
enjoyed it a lot. Um, and what's crazy is the remake.
I eat the shit.
It's crazy how the remake has like a happy ending from what I was reading. Kind of a happy
Hmm.
ending.
Yeah.
Where I don't know exactly what happens, but the ending's similar, but I think um and I think he does end up going to his house or cabin or whatever, but his you know how in the movie how he has like that new girlfriend or whatever? In the remake,
Hmm.
she comes for him and saves him or something like that in the end.
Yeah, that's
And they
where it
like
talks
run away
about the.
together or something. So they're both alive. And I'm like, oh, I mean, that's nice and all, but I feel like that doesn't, I don't know, doesn't sound as good.
Yeah, that's what it says. It talks about how he's being buried alive, but then he gets saved, kills the person with the shovel, and then he finally accepts, like when he sees the other grave, that his girl was right next to or whatever. And I don't know, like to me, I feel like both endings are fine. But I feel like if you want like that, I don't know, I like the classic
Yeah.
one more, as it just seems more, I don't know, not realistic, but just it just seems more
Hmm.
fitting to have that kind of ending. Of course, you want a happy ending, but you knew the whole movie wasn't going to be a happy
Exactly.
ending. like it just that's what it at least to me that's what it
Yeah.
seemed like. I didn't see anything good
Well,
happening from it. So
if they were gonna go with like somewhat of a happy ending, I would have rather, instead of what happened in the remake where she comes and saves him, like he made the decision, he was gonna, drink the coffee or whatever and take that risk, but then he gets saved, like it just, I don't know, defeats the purpose of taking that risk. But then
exactly.
like I would almost rather him just decide, like if he just decided not to drink it and just decide not to know, and if the movie ended that way, I feel like it'd be frustrating because you want to know what happened. But I feel like I would like that more than what they did with the remake. Like,
Exactly, because it's either he comes to terms with it or he accepts the risk, and then you find out that
yeah,
he suffered
yeah.
from it. So
So I'm interested to. I'll probably watch the remake at some point, just 'cause I'm curious.
no, I agree.
Um,
It has an
yeah,
interesting cast, so
but yeah. Um,
so what would you
I
give
I
it?
really love this movie. I would give it a 4.5 out of 5, and I definitely think it's one of those movies where maybe if I watch it again, like I might give it a 5. But on my first viewing, I loved it, and it's kind of it's just one of those movies. It's one of those movies where you watch it and it just kind of instantly becomes one of your favorite movies. You're like, oh yeah, this is
Yeah,
one of my favorites ever.
almost like a cult classic where you want to tell everybody else to
Yeah,
watch it, kind of thing. Where it's like, oh, have you seen The Vanishing? And they're like, wait, and they probably will say like the 1993
yeah.
one or something like that. And it's like, no, you got to watch
Hmm.
this other one. So I gave it
Nice.
5 stars because I loved how it was shot and just like the dramatic feel of it. I just thought it had me in a sense gripped and on the edge of my seat kind of like the whole
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
So
and your boy Kubrick loved the movie too. He said it.
mm-hmm.
He's.
Yes, sir.
I'm pretty sure he said it was like the most terrifying movie he's ever seen, pretty much.
Yeah.
Um.
Especially like the end though, like I can see that. Like
Yeah,
like that whole effect and everything.
it's so good. Um.
It's like one of those like that hits kind of like it could hit home or like not like it feels like
Mhm.
it could be
Yeah, and
real
that's why
in a
it's
sense.
so
Mm-hmm.
just frightening and disturbing. Yeah, because it does have
Exactly.
that feeling of that it could be real, or this could happen to anyone, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, hell yeah,
Hells
man.
yeah.
Was there anything else that you wanna input about anything?
Um. Not really. Think that's it.
Well, we have that our special episode coming
Special.
out on Halloween.
Yeah.
And what movie are we
Oh, we're
watching on
watching
Halloween?
Halloween.
Oh yeah, we're watching Halloween on
Yeah.
Halloween.
Nate's never seen Halloween.
Hey man,
I'm excited.
sometimes what's that saying like when good things come in due
Yeah,
time or something like that.
that's right. Yeah.
And I feel like I'm gonna watch it since Halloween is closer now. I feel like this week I'm gonna watch some of these classic ones like Texas Chainsaw
Nice.
Massacre. I'm probably gonna watch some of these other ones, maybe Saw or something like that.
Awesome.
Just to prep. Maybe Friday the
Ooh.
13th.
Yeah, I've been wanting to
So
watch the Friday the
yeah.
13th movies too. Yeah, it's fun.
And that Halloween episode will come out on Halloween.
Yes,
So
so stay tuned.
double the treat. Hell yeah, man. Well, thanks for listening everybody and keep make sure you're subscribed and follow us on Letterboxd and Twitter, Instagram. Cody's working on that
Yeah, we got
TikTok.
the
He's too busy dancing right now, but I'm sure he'll probably put some content out. Or he's doing those pool reviews.
you know it.
Hell yeah, man. But yeah, share the podcast and
Yeah,
we appreciate